Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. And so I'm here with another journal flip through. This is my Unraveling Journal from 2019 and 2020. So this is basically the journal that began the whole Unraveling Journal journey of mine. I have multiple videos on what an Unraveling Journal is, but in short, it is basically a journal that I keep for, I guess, sort of self exploration, for personal growth, for what I call like these inner excavations of just who I am as a person. And it kind of stemmed from, following the writings of Susanna Conway, and like she has this idea of that we're all constantly unraveling ourselves and learning new things about ourselves, and it's very self-helpy sort of kind of deal here. And except I journal it, I journal my journey with that in a creative way. And so my unraveling journals are very sort of junk journally in vibe, lots of quotes, lots of inspiration, very one little word journal esque, but it's like all these things, like all of these different things we have. I incorporate a whole bunch of teachings from like Julia Cameron and Susanna Conway and Liz Lamoureux and definitely Ali Edwards, and just like all of these things, and I mix in my creativity, junk journaling, art journaling, memory keeping, all the things to kind of document my story and my own personal journey in just growing as a person and getting to know me, my personality type, my attachment styles, like all like that psychology sort of thing behind me. And I keep them in these journals. Like I journal out my stuff in here. And so 2019 was the first time that I did it, and I decided to create this journal because I kind of wanted to work through some of these, kind of personal growth sort of courses, you can say. There was one that I took in 2015 from Susanna Conway that I wanted to revisit. I wanted to work through The Artist Way by Julia Cameron. I think at the time I had finished reading, or I had finished rereading Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, and like just things like that. I kind of wanted to work through all of that and apply it to me and apply it to my own personal journey and stuff like that. And so I decided to create a journal for it, and I decided to call it the Unraveling Journal because that is what I was doing. I was kind of unraveling myself in this, and took a creative spin to it instead of just straight up journaling, which I know all of these women, that's what they do, they straight up journal. But knowing me, I like being creative. I find my happy time being creative, and I found when I kind of add that creativity element, whether it's junk journaling, art journaling, or collage, or memory keeping, or just playing with papers and stuff, I get myself into my journals, and I wanted to be in this journal. I wanted to be present and be okay with the long form writing. And now I have no problem long form journaling, but this was the start. This was the start of the Unraveling Journal, and I don't know, but I never shared a flip through of this, and I think it's because it was personal at the time, and so I didn't want to like share it. But this is from 2019, and it is 2023, and I feel okay kind of flipping through it for you. And so I think my word, yes, my word for 2019 was bloom. And so I started it off with my word. And so my first time ever doing one little word, the course from Ali Edwards, was last year, 2022. But I've always had a word because Susanna Conway, she kind of focuses her year around her word. I know a lot of women do that. A lot of these teachers, they focus their sort of year, their intentions, goals, and stuff like that around a word. And so that's where I got the idea from. I knew that Ali Edwards did this one little word thing, and I tried doing it, but I never actually participated in the course. But I started this journal off with my word, which was bloom, and then bloom like a flower, unravel your own beauty. I don't know where I read this or if I created it. I have no idea, but I liked the fact that it incorporated my word for the year, bloom, with my vision to unravel. And so this is like the beginning page here. January 2nd, 2019. Just like a little library card. And then how I break down my word. And so I've been doing this for a while. I got the inspo again from Susanna Conway. She does this workbook called Find Your Word, and it's like a process of helping you narrow down your word. But she talks about having supporting words for your word. So you have the word, and then you have all these supporting words for it, or words that you kind of want to use too, because sometimes we can't just pick one. And so she's like, it's okay to have different supporting words if they support the word. And so I kind of took that and I spinned it for me. I found that my word for the year is like the overarching theme. I think of it as an overarching theme of my year, of what I want my year to be. And so my overarching theme for 2019 was bloom. I wanted bloom to be my guiding word. I wanted it to encompass everything that I do and that I take action on and everything like that. And I found that my 4 supporting words not only were just extra words for things that I wanted to kind of represent, but they all supported bloom. They all supported my vision for what bloom meant to me. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to grow, but I wanted to grow by creating every day. I wanted to inspire people and myself with what I create. I wanted to cultivate a community. And when you cultivate a land, there's room to grow. There's room to grow, room to bloom, right? If you cultivate a garden. And then to piggyback off cultivate, I wanted to engage. I wanted to engage with other people who are into this same sort of thing that I was into. And so that's how kind of keep my supporting words. My supporting words always support the main objective of my word. And so I do this all the time. And this was this year's. And again, I forgot what these were. I know this is like a prompt that I created where these were like my goals, my intentions to take action, to grow my garden, create amazing things, to engage and make friends, to live healthy, and to travel more. So I always have goals. I always keep goals. I always have goals set. And this was just my way of kind of focusing those goals into like little areas. Every flower blooms in its own time. Is this my timeline? This is my timeline. So something that I learned from Susanna Conway that I also know that Liz Lamoureux does as well, because she did it in a class too that I took from her, was to create a timeline. The idea is to sort of to create a timeline of your life, right? And to kind of mark off all the important dates, like I was born, you put your birthday, that's important, right? You put in all I guess your milestones. The way that Liz called it was touchstones. You put all your little touchstones, right? How I like to think of it, and what I continue to do now, because of course you take these this idea is not an original idea, but you kind of spin it to make it your own, right? How I do it is that I think of it as turning points. That's how I personally think of it, as turning points in my life. And so being born, that is the first stepping stone, right? This is the first touchstone of my life. And then I have other things in my life, like, I don't know what I have here because this is from 2019, so it's definitely changed. But I wrote here that 2008 was the worst year of my life. Yeah, so a lot of these are like, people that I met. Summer of 2012, my first Euro trip with John, things that impacted me in a way. I find them as turning points. September 22nd, 2012 is the day that my dad died. The new worst day of my life. Things like that. I kind of list out, I put in dates or years, periods of my life where something big happened, something that I find to be turning points. And when I keep saying turning points, I mean these are events in my life that changed me, like changed my perspective, changed me as a person in some way, or they were events, moments in my life that created the person that I am. So I kind of go back, like being born, right? I was born, but I have a section there, a date there, a date range of when I was in middle school. those years, those 3 years of middle school really, really shaped the person that I am now. You don't know it then when you're in middle school and you're like 11, right? But like as an adult, I can look back and be like, wow, those 3 years were hard for me as a kid. And because I was starting to realize how people worked and how the world worked and how people worked and how unfair things were. And it was just like a lot of things those 3 years. And for me, when I look back, I'm like, wow, if I hadn't gone through all that stuff, I probably wouldn't be the same person. And so that's what I mean when I say turning points. They're just moments. I know we all have it. We all have these turning points in our lives where we are changed afterwards. And so that's how I take that prompt, is that I use it as a place where I can list all those things. And the most interesting thing is every year that I do it, that I create this list, there are some dates that are the same no matter like what year I write this. And then I'm looking at this now and there's some things here. There's some things here that I don't remember including in my 2021 Unraveling Journal. There are things here that I don't remember. I'm not even sure if I included those in 2020, which is at the end of this journal. But I know there's some in there that weren't in my 2021 list. So it's interesting. It's interesting what we remember and what we forget. And the stuff that we forget, I guess, are no longer important to us as a person because we've kind of internalized that, kind of accepted that, and moved on from it. And I feel like a lot of the other bigger things, granted, there are some moments in your life that are way bigger than other things, There are some people in your life that create a bigger impact than other people. And so it's things like that. But it's so interesting for me to go back and read these lists and see just kind of where I was or where I was up until that point, because you start off with your birthday and you go all the way to the present. So that's what that is. I love this exercise. I do it all the time in the beginning of my Unraveling Journal because it's just a good starting point just to see, where you came from and where you are right now. Because at the end of the journey for that year, you're going to be a completely different person. And so, yeah, love it, love it, love it. This was like a bucket list that I had, and then some more inspirational quotes that had to do with my my word. And I always like to use sentiments that kind of invoke my word, with brave wings she flies. This year for me was all about growth. It was all about blooming, and you're not built to shrink down to less, but you're to blossom into more, things like that. And so this was February, so that was all January. This was February. I kind of try to break it down monthly. Sometimes it doesn't happen, but that's how this goes. Some journaling there. Another quote. Love to keep quotes. Love to find quotes that encompass my word. So these journals end up being sort of like inspiration journals too. Again, try to keep it dated as much as possible. Try to include me. So this is something that I got from Kaylee Gray. She tends to start her journals with sort of like a snapshot of who you are right now. And it's usually just a selfie, your name, your current age, and like what I call your current state of mind or state of being, or where you are location wise, however you want to twist it. Creative mess is where I was at this time. And always do something fun. This is tissue paper. It's so cool. And this was a poem. I think it had like my word in it. Just a collage. And then this was just some more journaling. Lots of unpacking things here. And this is all repurposed. So this is a repurposed card. I repurposed this envelope. Very, very junk journaling. I try to keep that whole junk journal feel with this as well. A lot of repurposed things. This was somebody. Oh, this was a piece of book paper that Trish sent me, and she stitched this. And so, like a lot of junk journal elements in here. This was journaling. This was my birthday this year, so another year around the sun. I actually pressed a flower into here, one of the cherry blossoms. It's going all over the place, but that's what this was, journaling. I find like my birthdays are very interesting. They're very interesting. Because you're another year older, and so it's for me. I find it a day to reflect on growing older. Um, Not so much growing older. Like I don't think I'm adverse to growing older. I think a lot of my preoccupation with birthdays are the idea. I constantly feel like I'm running out of time to do things. And so I know a lot of people, have this whole thing of like the fear of missing out. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. I just feel like I constantly feel when there's a time marker, like your birthday or like the new year, that I'm running out of time to do everything, to experience everything that I want to experience in life. Um, and so that's what a lot of that journaling is about on my birthday, is just kind of unpacking that. And I think that's what all of this hidden journaling here. Love this. This is a piece of lace. And this beautiful fabric here. Actually, this is the fabric that I made for the cover. Trish also sent me that beautiful, beautiful fabric. And then I have this card here. So I had ordered some fabric washi tape from Nazi, from Amity Bloom, and the card is just so pretty. And it had this phrase on it: happiness blooms where seeds of joy, of love and joy are planted. And it had my word in it, and the sentiment just fits so very well with my word. So I put it in here. So for this journal, this is when I started making my free printables, and I decided to do my monthly entry in my journal using the free printable. And so this one was March's printable. These printables are in my shop. They're no longer free, but you can find them in my shop. And yeah, flourish, thrive. Like these were all blossom blooms, So each month I would come in here and sort of reflect on my word and on myself. These are the beautiful washi tapes from Nazi. Every June I tend to do sort of a mid-year check-in, and this is where I just check in with myself and like my journey. July is where I got the phrase "a gentle unfurling" from Seuss. So this is the quote from Susanna Conway's book about unraveling. And then I have lots of journaling on all of these cards. This is my July journaling printable here. More journaling. Just a lot of journaling, but I try to make it creative, if you can see. And so this is my Graceful Garden printable here. I believe this was August. I was talking about me being an INFJ and my best friend in the entire world, John, being an ENFP, and how we just kind of fit together. This was my birth chart. And so this is the type of stuff that I like to put in here. A little bit of woo sort of things, but I do like to include in here like a lot of the personality type things. Birth chart, I love the birth chart. And that sort of astrology. So yeah, I was talking about my birth chart and how, again, I was kind of comparing everything. I was doing a lot of reflection about my relationship with my friend John, because I kind of think our connection is a little outer worldly. I always just joke that, he's my soulmate or we're each other's soulmate, because we kind of understand each other in a very unique sort of way. He's my best friend. And so I was kind of using that relationship to sort of kind of connect the dots in terms of, birth chart and personality chart. And that was all this journaling about. I use, again, these are printables of mine that you can find in my shop. This is the Wisteria one. This is the Halloween one. I use a couple of Lace and Whimsy stickers here too, to do a buttload of journaling. Some more journaling here. lots and lots of journaling. These are pieces from some of my printables. This tag, beautiful tag. I just added this little kind of stamp here, but this tag was from Trish as well. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. More journaling. December reflections. So this is the ending of the year. This is me reflecting on my year, a decade of growing, more journaling about that. And then this is all 2019. Then I go into 2020. And so this is me doing the same thing that I did up here with my word. I decided for 2020, my word was going to be flourish, because I thought that was I didn't want to leave bloom behind, because I didn't feel like it was done yet with the word. And so I evolved it. When you bloom, you're just a seedling, and you grow, right? But then you flourish. And so 2020 was supposed to be my year of flourishing. And these were my supporting words: be bold, evolve, thrive, and inspire. And then this is my little pocket of all of the things. And I believe this is all another printable of mine. These are some books. I always like to have a list of books that I want to read for each year that kind of support my unraveling journey here. A quote. This is another printable of mine. I have this in this pocket that I made. Flourish. Not so much flourishing happened in 2020. So this is January, right? This is March of 2020. And, I think I kind of I was like repurposing like my intentions and stuff for 2020, and this was like the start of lockdown, right? And so I was trying to figure out things that I can do for self-care and how I can avoid like stress, limit my media consumption, the news and stuff like that. This too shall pass, kind of keeping a positive outlook. So this is one of my vellum pockets. I do this quite a bit sometimes, and I tuck my tags into here. But this was sort of reassessing, like all of the stuff that I did in January and for March. And then from March I went to July, because 2020 was a difficult year. There's journaling in here. It was a difficult year, difficult in terms of kind of having to adapt and change and stuff. So I kind of fell off the bandwagon a little bit with my Unraveling Journal. And this is the rest of it that is completely blank. Just because of the situation that we were in. So this is July's, and that is where I kind of left off. So 2020 didn't really get much of a journal, but 2019 did, and I really, really enjoyed keeping this. That for 2021, I ended up doing a smaller book, which I believe I have a full flip through of this, but it's basically the same thing. And this is where my whole a gentle unfurling kind of took shape. I know it showed up in here because when I was talking about my goal setting, it was something that Seuss Fish said in a comment. I don't know what I think we were talking about goal setting on somebody's blog, and she had, I kind of expressed, how I do things, and she wrote, "Oh, it's sort of like a gentle unfurling." That was like the phrase that she used in her comment, and I loved that. It was so beautiful that I sort of adopted it as my thing. So 2021 was actually my year. I didn't pick a word; I picked a phrase called a gentle unfurling. But as I get older, this is my timeline. As I get older, I realize that that's just an encompassing term for sort of my self-exploration in this sort of format, in this sort of creative journaling sort of way. It's a gentle unfurling. And I will constantly, not just one year, be gently unfurling all the time. And so, yeah, I just wanted to come on and show you a good flip through of the first Unraveling Journal, the thing that started the whole thing. Honestly, I think I know I say this is my first unraveling journal, but I think what really kicked it off was filling out Susanna Conway's workbooks, and I'm going to show you how I used to do it. So this is probably not going to fit into frame, but it's just an A5 planner, and these are my Susanna Conway workbooks. So the first one that I did was 2014, and this one, I actually accidentally cut the photograph, but this one was straight up like just printing the workbook and filling it out. 2015, I did the workbook, right? This is the entire workbook. And then I did this thing where I was working through her class, the last time she ever gave her unraveling class. And I was doing this sort of scrapbooky type deal because I was very, very much into scrapbooking at the time. So I did all my journaling, but then I also did like all of these little scrapbook like bits. And so the following year, I did the workbook, but I loved how I did that, all of this the previous year. And even though she didn't give the class ever again, I decided to do it again. And she doesn't teach any of this in the class. Like, this is not like the whole scrapbooking kind of creative. She just, tells you to take pictures and journal. The whole creative bit was just my spin on it, just to keep me, accountable to myself and to get the stuff done. But I decided to just continue and do that. I love this. And do that. And so in 2016, I kind of kept the beginnings of what would turn into my kind of unraveling journal thing. I was just experimenting and doing all these things like that. 2017, my intention was to do it again, but I didn't get to it. So I just have the workbook here, and then I just kind of kept the workbooks going as I fill them out currently, which is I just print them out and fill them out in the journal. Fill them out in the journal. This is the Find Your Word workbook, and so I will link these. These are completely free. Susanna Conway, she graciously offers them free for everyone to do. And this is what helps me. This is what helps me, find my word, and it helps me flesh out my goals and my intentions for the new year. And usually after I sit through and fill out both workbooks for the year, I have more of a vision. I have more of an idea of how I would want my year to look and feel and all the things. So I have all the years up until this year here, and that's how I keep it. But it basically, my whole unraveling journal started from that 1 year of me incorporating the scrapbooking into the whole thing, and it just evolved from there. And so I just kind of wanted to come on and show you the legit first unraveling journal. If you go on my channel and use the search bar on my channel and just type in unraveling journal, you will literally see all the videos that I have working in this book and like talking more about what unraveling is and all that stuff. Susanna Conway's book is like a great reference for it. Is This I Know. I believe it's called This I Know, Notes on Unraveling the Heart. It's her book where the quote, I think I copied it out in here, the quote where she talks about unraveling is from. So that this whole idea is based off of that quote. So I will leave a link to the book in the description box so you can go and check it out. But I just wanted to pop on and show you a in-depth flip through of my first ever unraveling journal because I wanted to get it up in my gallery on my website. And so I really hope you enjoyed a look at this journal. Thank you so much for always being here and always watching my videos, and I will see you all next time. Bye.